Morning all, I'm Tim and this is How to Murder Feet, a series of walking videos. It's about 11:17 on Sunday the 22nd of June. We're in the middle of a heat wave. It's about 25 degrees at the moment, but you know, wind chill brings it down to 22, so that's alright. And I'm in Aldeburgh again. This is where I finished off the previous week in May. So now June, and here we are again. It's been about 6 weeks for me. I don't know how long it's been for you. If you're binging it, probably no time at all. I don't know if John released his whatever schedule. So there's the bike. It's got company today. But I got the best spot with the actual working bars. And some bloke with a big trailer and his bike comes pulling in next to it. Yeah, so thesis is there. I've already done the bike ride bit. Zoom mode. There, there. No one wants to see my nose hairs up close. So yes, I've done the bike ride this morning. I cycled from Southwold. Southwold, is it? Oh, lose track. The hammering heat is already becoming a problem. Yeah, Southwold is today's destination. It's about 14 miles that way. And I cycled from there over via land route 17 miles to get to here this morning. So yes, we're doing the bike thing again. That seemed to work pretty well last time. Yes, and here there's the sea. You can see the sea that we're actually starting on the coast and following it for most of the trip. I'll do the map bit later as is traditional, but need to get to Southwold this morning and then ultimately Cromer by the end of the week, which is right up on the north of Norfolk, on the top of Anglia. And it's pretty much straight run up the coast all week. No stupid like day-long inland detours or anything like that. There are a couple of rivers. The whole Norfolk Broad's up ahead that way somewhere, but lots of rivers with bridges right near the sea, like I am allowed to use. So we're all good. So yeah, I'm just going to mill about a little more, recover from the bike ride. It's quite strenuous today. My knees have started to. I don't know. I think it might be a cycling only related thing. I can't feel it when I'm walking about, so we'll see. We'll get on with it. Plan for the best. But yeah, so yeah, Aldeburgh. There was a pier down there, but considering the ECP cuts inland and comes straight to this point here and then heads north, guess we don't get to go and look at it. As ever on these trips, I'm on a relatively unforgiving schedule. It's a quite relaxed schedule, but it doesn't have much in the way of 3-hour stops anywhere to have a proper look at a traction engine or anything like that. So yeah, but I think by my reckoning, I think there's 6 piers this week. So we're passing through quite a lot of seaside towns and villages on this leg. We'll be back to the more traditional coastal experience, which I'm quite looking forward to. So I'm going to crack on, although I might try and find an ice cream and a bottle of drink on the way out before we strike on to the first interesting. So 2 major points today to look out for. I know, here we get highlights. So we've got a nuclear power station again. Haven't seen one of those since Dungeness. Well, Bradwell actually, although that was in an aluminium box for the last 30 years and not doing anything. But this is an operational nuclear power station. I'll wiki it a bit closer so I can pretend I know. And then Dunwich, in the later part of today, a village that has lost about 2/3 of itself into the sea over the last sort of 4, 5, 6, 700 years, including 8 churches, from what I gather on the Wikipedia page there. So that'll be interesting to see too. And then finishing in Southwold today. No idea on the timings and the schedules, but since I'm in a B&B that I didn't bother paying for the optional B for, it's literally just a bed. I can completely set my own schedule in terms of getting up and having breakfast or not having breakfast or evening meals or anything. So yeah, absolutely no schedules today. It's the longest day was yesterday, longest day of the year, solstice. This is like the second longest day of the year. So sunset won't be properly set until about 9:30. So I've got plenty of time to get today done. It's not really that punishing a schedule. No, let's crack on with it, and I'll talk to you again some more, doing that bit and stuff. You know the drill. Here we go. Look. This is an auspicious start. We're not even out of the village yet. Proper. Yeah, and this is pretty much what we're expecting the entire week, really. Well, pavement, not necessarily, but certainly the straight long line all the way up the coast, and well marked already. Already seen in King Charles III England Coast Path. Fine. Fantastic. We got a giant clam sculpture, scallop or something, and writing carved into it there. Oh, let's go closer and come back in zoom mode. Right, let's have a go with the zoom. Hear those voices that will not be owned, crowned, drowned. Awesome. I'm more interested in the puffball mushroom there. It's Sizewell A and or B. I don't know which is which. Which we will be walking directly past the foreshore of on the way today, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Keep an eye on the temperature. Well, I mean, there's no point keeping an eye on the temperature, to be honest. There's not much I can do about it, specifically. 25, I think, 25 to 28 today. The wind, there's a fairly good breeze along here, though. It takes it down to like the high 20, low 20s, 22 or so. Which I've walked in before, I mean, there's a reason I never did the camping thing with the full backpack in this part of the year, June, July, August, because, these temperatures are killers. But with just a light day bag, I put 2 litres of water in there, because just in case. But we're passing a lot of seaside villages and towns this week, which means lots of shops. I've already bought, since I talked to you last, I've already bought a can of 7-Up. Consumed it, so keep the fluids going, keep the temperatures going. I've got nuts in the bag as well, because salt is a thing as well. It's all very well drinking lots and lots and lots of water, but if you just do that exclusively, you're going to end up getting, I can't even remember what it's called now, but it's basically where your body dilutes you got not enough salt, so your body dilutes itself, kidney damage, etc. So just need an occasional salty snack as well throughout the day, bag of crisps or whatever. Keep the pace nice and easy, the clothing's light. I've got nothing on under this shirt. Well, it does still have a collar, yes. I thought about shorts and sandals, but I don't have any sandals. New boots this week, by the way. I popped a seam on the last ones. We'll try these High-Tex 13 wides. I don't know the make or the model. It's not a particular endorsement, and I may come to hate them by the end of the week, but you'll be there to see that. So, but yes, I sometimes think about shorts, but then I do go through a lot of dryers and steam metals, so seems like, worth the sacrifice for heat. But I think just don't push myself too hard, apart from a 17-mile bike ride this morning. I came through a number of those flashy lights, shows you your speed as you're approaching signs on the way through, and I was consistently clocked at 12 miles an hour on 2 of them, so I was surprised they even picked me up, but they do, they pick up cyclists, you're big enough, a moving object. 12 miles an hour, not bad. Which was green, got the happy face. Be very surprised if I could break the speed limit through one of those on the bicycle. Right, let's get some miles in, get off these stones. That looked like Falkness up ahead, this little village, so we'll go and have a look. Zoom on this weird folly I keep seeing above the forest there. It's very Minecraft and Lego. I mean, I want to say it's an ex-windmill, but obviously no blades, but also in a forest. Sometimes things are just weird for the sake of it. You can probably rent it as a B&B, Airbnb or whatever. Quirky house there. Sort of burnished copper roofing that's reflecting a warm yellow back in my direction. Nice. It's stark, but more traditional. Sea view window open as big as possible. This is Falkness. Don't really know much about it. It's another place on the way to somewhere else. Quite off the beaten track though. A lot of country lanes to get here. And I do wonder about the permanent viability of this. I mean, the east coast of this country is very much under siege, always has been. We'll get the Dunwich later and see what that's all about. But the shingle bank will hold it for a decade or two. But I wouldn't hazard a guess at the price of any of these. This is the actual coast path, by the way. We're on a bit of a shingly stretch. Which is alright as long as it's not like this all day. I'm working harder under this heat. Thunderstorms back home. It's been quite a couple of days. I mean, driving up here on Saturday wasn't much fun. It's alright, but hot and unpleasant. Car temperature was reading 33.5 at one point, but it was fine and I was fine. I never have any heating water trouble with that car. I do check the water often. See it, Leon. It's alright, does the job. 1.2, eco, whatever. And yeah, I never had it leak water. And the temperature dial was just constantly in the middle all the time, even under weather like this. I can't complain. I think it's a Volkswagen engine underneath the badges and everything. I think it's fun. Basically, it's a Golf, but with a different body shell, I think. Very well engineered. I haven't had much trouble with it at all. It's now an integral part of my holiday plans on this coast. I've given up on trains and public transport. It's part of the support team now, along with Theseus, the alleged mountain bike. Oh, there was some severe off-roads on the way from Southwold back to Aldeburgh earlier. Google picked me out a route which a car would not have been able to do. It's quite interesting following the Google route for the bike. When you tell it, find me the best cycling route, it starts to pull bridleways in, and some of them are quite narrow, and thorn bushes at eye height. Quite the adventure. And that's before my adventure even started for the day. So yeah, it's going to tail off heat-wise down to sort of low 20s later in the week. And the wind's going to keep up all week, which is good. Cloudier toward the end of the week, maybe. But all in all, apart from perhaps a little hotter than I personally like, it looks like another perfect week for hiking. So that's good. Very lucky, actually. As I look back on all of my hiking, right back to Minehead, I think I've had way more lucky good weather than I statistically ought to have had. I mean, yeah, I did get rained off and had to quit a day early down in where was that? Seaton? Budley Salterton? Somewhere around there. That week in Devon. And, that's always was going to happen at some point. It's very rare I've spent like more than one day trudging under continual rain. Why? Maybe I have powers. But maybe I just picked the weeks of the year that are statistically very dry and good weather. And there's a reason I don't do this in January, Actually, I have done this in January. Back when I was a little nearer to home, I was day tripping, and it went right away through December and January down in southern Essex. But that's okay, because I could pick or choose not to bother at all for a weekend if it looked like it was going to rain. Whereas with a week-long trip, I'm committed to a more solid block of continuous good weather, hopefully. Gosh, you can tell I'm British. I've whacked lyrical about the weather for at least a good 10 minutes now. Let's carry on. Get off this shingle. We should be able to come around the headland and get a good view of the nuclear power station. I better quickly do some research, otherwise I'm going to look like a fool in front of you all when we get there. Yeah. Goes path cuts back into the little lane now. Goes up there, I assume. Look at these. That's Tudor. It's mock Tudor. My lines are too straight for it to be original, I think. This is a lake area, pleasure pond. So we're heading for the Norfolk Broads up this way eventually. 2 or 3 days' time. So I haven't done the map bit yet. I'll have to find a spot. Another one. Yeah, I'm going to say that's sort of like a profile pic type thing, I think, for like work teams or something. Anyway, yeah, I'm just not used to seeing this much signage. Pretty much every turn we've seen since Aldeburgh so far. Very impressive. Good. Right, down here. Well, this keeps up. I'm going to have to start taking it for granted. Developed a quite an abusive relationship with the signage for this path up to this point so far. No, very impressed. Very pleased with that indeed. Yeah, I'm going to get some profile icon pics of these. Now, let's do the map bit. About 12 o'clock, been going about an hour, 12:15. So far so good. I haven't had any recurrence of that weird knee twinging I was getting. It may just be a bicycle-related injury only, although I don't see how that can be the case. It's all the same muscles and joints. I'm using a different set of legs for that. But yeah, not a single whisper while I'm walking, so I'll walk it off then. Let's do a bench of the dead. I haven't done a bench of dead in a while. One thing is, people don't put benches of the dead along river banks, you know? They tend to put them on cliffs. This is a cliff. We're on a cliff top at the moment. I say cliff, you know, I've been to Cornwall, mate. This is not a cliff. That's probably not even, 15 metres tall? I don't know. Maybe 20, I'll say, perhaps. Or sandy detritus on the edge. Very crumbly, I imagine. Which is the basic problem on this side of the country. Let's see more of that later. So, what we got? In memory of Coral, who loved it here. So, I like that. Dignified, unassuming, slightly uplifting. Yeah. I don't rate benches of the dead, that would be crap. But Coral clearly had good taste. I mean, it's nothing specifically spectacular here, but nice views of the North Sea there. We're on a sort of flat, so there's no headlands to see, I don't think, really. But not from here anyway. Oh, so yeah, let's do the map bit. We ought to establish some context or something. My narrative skills are all over the place as it is. Right, where are we? We've got two maps today. Woodbridge and Saxmundham. So that was last week's. So we're doing a bit of that still this time. Sometimes. No, I think it's been zoom mode. Hang on, coming back. Okay, right, where are we at? So, Aldeburgh, start of this week and start of today. Heading up Thorpeness, just been through there, just slightly north of there now. And then big long stretch of not much at all, and then on to the next page. And then here's the greater context map. So I'll shade it with my own camera. So there we go. Aldeburgh there, starting there. 212 up to Southwold today. 231. Lowest stop the day after that, which is the most easterly point in the United Kingdom. And I'll be doing something about that there. Go to see the marker or whatever. And Great Yarmouth, where I'm staying. And then round to Cromer, the end of the week. It's like 5 stages. Different this time. My last half day that I would normally be doing a half day, then drive straight home after checking out of the hotel. I'm actually doing a whole day, so I'll be going home quite late. But that's okay because it means I miss all the bad traffic around London. So yeah, that's the trip anyway. OL40. Finally reached a part of the country that the Ordnance Survey deemed worthy enough to visit as a tourist. The Outdoor Leisure Series 40. It's the Norfolk Broads, basically. That cover that more when we get there. Then on to 252. I do buy a lot of maps. They're really building up on a bookcase in my home. Maybe I should sell them on. I tend to mark them with pencil, so they're not really pristine. I like keeping them. They're good souvenirs. Everyone likes to collect stuff. This is what I collect. So that's the plan, anyway. So yeah, Southwold today, which is actually on the other half of this one. There we go. There's a big river there, but there's a bridge quite close to the sea, so I don't have to go all the way up to all the way to the end there. River Blythe. Yes, there's a bridge about where that green marker crosses it. Like literally half an hour's detour in and out, no problem. And then there's a pier at Southwold where I park the car, where it hopefully still is. So that's the plan anyway. That's the plan for the weekend for today. There we go. Right, I better have a swig and then crack on. Hottest part of the day and all that. This is the life. This is what I want. So I do it. What I come for. Perfect. It's sort of top of margin shoreline path halfway up a cliff. Hedgerows on either side. Gorgeous views of the sea. Relatively quiet people-wise. Beautiful. I'm in my element here. I think I'm the most alive right now, despite the heat. Yeah, it could do with being about 8 degrees cooler, but apart from that, if I died on this trail right now, I'd be doing something like that. I mean, obviously, I'm going to try and do everything I can to not die. That goes without saying. But if it happened, I wouldn't mind. That's what I'm saying. But I still want my remains to be fired into the sun, because, you know, from stardust we all came, etc. See? It's fantastic. That's what it's all about, so it should be like. Go away! I think hand-painted sign. The air of desperation about them. Private! Yes, right. Wind farms, yeah. Did see a lot, but that was much further north. Over Great Yarmouth way. We'll see those later. There's some more windier off the northeastern shoulder of the land here. Save this area from wind farms. Oh, I see. No. Add more wind farms. Wind farms are great. And the NG Nautilus interconnect. Well, you've got to get the power out of the wind turbines and out into people's homes somehow. Yes to offshore wind energy, no to onshore plants. Now they're going to put them on the land. No, put them in the sea. It's like an offshore wind farm. Something faintly futuristic and yet noble and dignified about it at the same time, you know? Like the good future, not the dystopian one from Back to the Future, Part 2. Yeah. Something in the sea there, suspect that's nuclear in origin. Coming around the corner to Sizewell soon. There's the actual village of Sizewell Gap or just Sizewell. We probably had some medieval name before the reactors turned up. See as we get closer. Little cliff top park here. No idea where they are now, but that's cool. Well, you would, wouldn't you? Let's stay next to the sea. Of course, you're going to do a massive folly with the sea view. Well, Coastal Holiday Park. Old chalet caravan. Statics. I mean, a lot on the BBC about how there's a terrible scam. All sorts of unfair practices by the site owners to basically rebuy them back at a fraction of their cost after forcing people out for maintenance and so on. But I'm sure most of them are fine. Yeah, lovely view. Just ignore the 1960s concrete block on the horizon. So yes, the park does indeed go right in front of those, along the dunes on the coastal side. Guess they've got nothing to hide. It's a power generation station. Nothing weapon-based goes on there, I don't think. Lots of people on the beach who clearly don't buy into scare stories about radiation, which is good, because I imagine that's probably quite safe, unless, an earthquake hits it or something. Or some joker decides to tip the rods with graphite or boron or xenon or whatever. You know, I wanted to watch Chernobyl. I'll just watch that again. That miniseries is great. But I think in day-to-day operation, nothing to worry about. And generally cautiously pro-nuclear, I suppose. Done correctly, it's fine. Although, that site will be out of use and out of action. I think I worked it all out for the Bradwell one. You go back and look at that video. But basically, that site will be unusable for anything else until 2099 at the earliest, and probably centuries beyond even, by the time they decommission it and tear it down and so on. I'll have to see if I can get a signal for Wikipedia, because I need some numbers. Can't enjoy a site without numbers and maths. But lots of people on the beach, so, and those are almost certainly cooling water intakes and outputs, vents. Stop people driving boats over them by accident. I mean, the seawater doesn't go directly into the reactor core and out again. There's multiple heat exchange, isolated loop systems go on inside there. So, in theory, the output water is the same as went in, but a couple of degrees warmer. No radioactivity gets spumed out of that. Well, under normal operation. I think that's what happened during Fukushima. Because it got hit by a tsunami and wasn't quite strong enough to stop some of the cooling system leaking out or something. Still, let's go and have a look. Oh, here we are. The pretty little coastal village of Sizewell. There you go, that anti-Spaniard advanced warning detection system there. Spaniards are never getting a fleet onto the North Sea without us knowing about it again. Various fishing paraphernalia. Cafe, which I'm going to stop at and get a drink, and maybe a nice lolly as well. Because a bag of crisps. Because beyond there, which is where we're going next, I don't think there's anything until Dunwich. So it's like 3 or 4 miles and not much at all. It's been a while since I've had a drink, so there we go. I found the Wikipedia page, and I should really print like fact sheets off ahead of time for this because I've got quite poor phone reception here. But yes, I can give you some spiel as we go past a bit more of an in-depth gawk. But I believe the one on the left is Sizewell A, which is a twin Magnox reactor, which is currently being decommissioned, and I don't know what wattage or timescale or any of that was going on. And that over there, I don't know if the big bubble you can't see, but we'll see later, or the white building over there is B. B is a pressure water reactor, PWR1. And I don't even know where C is going to be built, but I've seen a lot of roadworks, say Sizewell C. So yeah, anyway, more of that when we head on past, but I'm going to find a drink and have a sit down for a little bit. I think about one. We're looking at 1 o'clock, going for 2 hours, which roughly works out at 5 or 6 miles. So yeah, about a third of the way through today, probably. Right, let's find a drink. Hopefully takes chip and pin. Oh, is that the Suffolk flag? I don't think I'd seen it before. What was that size of? I have to look that up too. Fact sheet, see? It's the future. On the move again. That was the Suffolk flag, the can't see it now, blue flag with the yellow crown and the two crossed arrows, yellow crossed arrows over it. Odd, I hadn't seen it before. Not that they're particularly ashamed, I don't know. I haven't seen many Essex flags in Essex either. I think the idea of county flags are quite obsolete, really, quite old-fashioned, and particularly since half these counties don't even exist legally anymore. They're all like unitary authorities and carved up into mega mayorships and things. So, at Sellafield A, Magnox reactor, commissioned in 1961, decommissioned in 2006, is in the currently decommissioned defueling stage, which as I understand it goes on for quite a few decades. I don't know if that means it's generating useful electrical output whilst that's happening, while it's being ramped down, or whether it's just, I don't know. So it makes me wonder about the economics of nuclear power. I'm sure I did all this calculations on the Bradfield site as well, and we won't walk past there. You can probably find that video. I'll go and look myself at some point. But let's work on the impression that when you build a nuclear power station, it's there for good, but it's not. It only lasts about 30 or 40 years, it seems. Maybe you've got to tear it down and you can't use the site for anything else for like a couple of hundred. Capable of producing 490 megawatts, apparently, in its heyday. Don't know what that is in homes, which is the standard unit. I mean, yeah, you could go and look at YouTube. You could go and look at Wikipedia as well right now if you like. You probably get more accurate information than me, but it keeps me feeling like I'm involved. So, turbine hall was taken down in 2025. I reckon the main building will be in place until 2034, and probably the site will be in some sort of enhanced care regime until 2098. Basically the 22nd century. Yeah. So that one's Sizewell B then, I guess. Blue thing with the big dome on top. I guess this gubbins on the far end is more electrical transformers and that kind of thing, subsidiary things. Oh, I guess we'll look that one up now. Hang on. I'll walk a bit and you can come back in a minute. So yes, that is confirmed that is Sizewell B. It's a Westinghouse pressure water reactor, PWR SNUPS. I don't know what that is, I didn't click the link. Terrible. I'm the worst tour guide. Yeah, built, commissioned in 1988. Don't know when it was turned on, how long it took to build. It's still running now, it is operational. I think this country only has 9 operational nuclear reactors. We have a lot more that are in that kind of, oh dear, tear them down sort of state. And that one's planned to be decommissioned. That's right, no, 1995 it started, and it's planned to be decommissioned in 2035, which means it has exactly 40-year operational life. You could probably sit down and work out the value of all the electricity it produced during that time versus the cost it took to build the thing and dismantle it safely. But it's beyond my capabilities with this bad mobile data signal and ignorance. I guess Sizewell C will be going in on the end. There was a whole section in Wikipedia about Sizewell C as well. That was in the news recently. It was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Government signed on to provide 14 billion with a B pounds of cash money to for the next 10 years worth of construction on that thing. But it's not new. That wasn't the signing of the yes, we're going to do it. It's been worked on. I mean, even as far back as the Ipswich stages, like last year, down in sort of Harwich sort of thing. I've been seeing yellow construction signs, traffic signs on the roads for Southwold Sea since then. So I cycled past a whole load as well this morning. I mean, they're basically doing a whole load of ground earthworks, car parks, road layout, that kind of stuff. That seems like it's quite ongoing. You can see that on Google Maps. So they haven't really been sitting around on their hands waiting for the government to bung them 15 billion quid. 14, I'd say. It was going to go ahead anyway, but they'd made a start. Yeah. Like a nuclear power generation museum along here. That's an 80s design. It does look a bit 80s, sort of colours and the shapes. That does look very 60s. Who knows what the next one looked like? That's a curved fluted glass, I imagine. Aerodynamic shapes. Yeah, must be the intakes. And seawater. Just off the beach where all everyone's playing. I mean, I don't swim in the sea anyway because our country has a terrible track record of our water companies just dumping untreated sewage into our rivers and the sea. But I'm not really a strong swimmer and I don't like getting wet if I can avoid it. But I would imagine this here beach is probably one of the more closely monitored beaches for cleanliness and the like in the country. I mean, they just wouldn't let anyone in this water if there was even the slightest anything coming out of there into the sea, other than heat, excess heat wattage. And still, there it is. Right, I'm going to press on. There's a little chain link fence here. I'm feeling a detour. Probably coast side. I'll shingle ahead for the next hour. And then, so I think Dunwich next. A village which has lost about 2/3 of itself into the sea over the years. So I see some signage there, I imagine. Yeah. Talking of nuclear, I heard on the radio this morning whilst parking the car for my today's adventure that Trump's joined in with Israel in its war on Iran. So there we go. I mean, when I look back on these previous hiking videos, I mean, you're obviously living through this now, but at some point I'm going to look back and go, oh yeah, that was when World War III started. Yeah. Iran and Israel in the shooting war with the US on Israel's side. I mean, those scientist guys with the doomsday clock. Is that real or was that just Watchmen? I imagine they've probably given up and gone home by now, gone to the beach. Yeah, no one's listening. Let's just do it. Surf's up. Yeah. So yeah, there we go. There may not be any YouTube for you to be watching this on in future. I don't imagine it'll involve the complete annihilation of American and British culture and society on the ground levels on the cards, but it's not great. Right, where to next? Looks like an ECP sign. My God, they're everywhere. I'm really not complaining. This is brilliant. I haven't had to guess anywhere so far today. It's some hilarious detour that ends up 8 miles down a farm track. Yeah, that definitely looks like where I'm supposed to be going next. Cool. The drones. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Legit. Onward. Wow, we're getting away from this. This must be the groundwork for sea. Sizewell Sea must be going in here. I've seen a lot of no Sizewell Sea signs on houses in the villages nearby, but I feel for them, but they're not hiding to nothing. The trouble is, it's a local issue versus national response, Like, most of the country would quite like a bit cheaper electricity, whereas only about 20 or so local villages around here are angry about the increased construction traffic and potential health and safety risks. I don't see that that's a fight they can win, really. As you say, the invisible hand destroys everything in the end. Now, I was very surprised that there's not more substantial sea defences here. I mean, but we're in a part of the country notorious for coastal erosion. We'll see a lot of that later today. They're just relying on a couple of sand dunes to, I'd expect a massive concrete wall or something, but no. Oh, there it is. Yeah, some very clever engineers have already thought of this. Don't need my heckling. Right, so we've got a big old chain link. Oh, I love it. It's not spiky though. It look a bit temporary. There was a couple of days along the Thames where all I saw was spiky aluminium fences, and it really changed my perception of industrial Britain. We use a lot more aluminium than I thought. Okay, right, this next text looks to be quite boring, so I'm going to put you in my pocket for a bit and we'll talk again soon. Although they do have some very big drills. What are they building? More elaborate sea defences than the sand dune. It's obviously a bit narrower here. It's a hell of a drill. Been going very deep there. Love the sign. If you can guess the tagline for Sizewell C, well, I'll give you 3, 2, 1. No, time's up. The power of good for Britain. I mean, Sizewell C is probably a lot of things to a lot of people, but I'm not sure it's an indicator of absolute moral polarity. But there you go. The power of good. Or is it the power of good for Britain? I mean, are we missing an Oxford comma there somewhere? I don't know. Anyway, there it is. Oh, anyway, look at this. I'm walking along the sea again. It's fantastic. What I signed on for. The ocean. I don't know if that's an ocean, that's a sea, technically. I don't know what the difference is. It's the North Sea. Head that way, in a straight line that way, you probably either hit Denmark or Norway. Maybe Sweden, in between. Yes, a lot of oil fields, extractions, oil rigs and stuff out there. Fishing fleets, I suppose. Yeah. I'm trying to think what that is on the horizon up ahead. That's probably is Southwold. I can't remember what the landmarks were when I drove up there this morning. I remember the pier, but then I sort of went around it on the north side and then out. So that little tiny white spike you might be able to see. Not zooming at the moment. Is there anything I should recognise? Anyway, I don't know. I'm getting quite bad at judging distances on headlands like this now because I've spent so long up rivers. Lost the knack. It probably is Southwold. Almost certainly not Yarmouth or anything beyond. Southwold would probably be about 7 miles away at the moment. Yeah, looks about right. I don't think there's any obvious headlands in between here and there. Yeah. That's good hard standing there. That's a start. Car park maybe. Goods in. Yeah. Apparently it's going to be of a similar style and design as Hinkley C. Much maligned, overrun and over budget project going on with the North Somerset coast near Minehead, where I started all this madness. Although it's a bit further back, so that'll be probably one of the. I imagine I'll hit Hinkley Point on the very last actual day, maybe the last but one day of my whole endeavour. And I reckon I might. The way it's going, I'll probably be there before it's finished. I mean, the way I'm predicting at the moment, I'm projecting 2027 for Berwick, Scotland. I haven't really got any solid estimates for the rest of the trip, but it could be decades before I'm actually fully done with the entire thing. I mean, I suspect I'll be at Minehead before this thing's ready anyway. Anyway, enough nuclear stuff. Let's crack on. Dunwich awaits. Serene dunescape. Feeling the heat, although it's starting to haze up a bit. I'm getting a few puffy clouds about the place, so yeah. So it might be a little bit cloudy in the afternoon. There's less than 5% chance of rain though, and the temperature's not going to shift much, so it's merely of interest and panic or alarm for information. Yeah. Dune grass, probably full of adders staying on the path. This is the path, by the way. I mean, there's a sort of trail along the top of that dune which lets you see the sea and lets you get some wind, but it's quite up and down. Stick to this bit. Nice, well marked flat path there, easy going. It's nice. So I'm very impressed with the England coast path this trip so far. This could be the lulling into a false sense of security, and then there's 4 days of trackless bogs too, with no signage to deal with. No, I think this is one of those areas that the ECP does well at, which is where somebody else has already created a coast path, the Suffolk coast path in this case. And they can just come along and stick some sign badges on. Much easier for all concerned. Sounds good. Ooh. Yeah, walking well. That's not a knee problem. I think that's probably a vital thing, and then I can sleep that off. It's all good. Let's crack on. What are we looking at here? More farm building, church of some sort, sacked. What to say? Some sort of bird hide here. Some sort of birds over there. And one of them things my camera doesn't fit in. Minsmere. RSPB Minsmere. That's the coast and heath area. That's something that's a beauty. Okay, come back in zoom mode. Gulls. Noisy buggers. There's a load on or near my B&B that have a huge amount of loud noises at a variety of unusual hours of the night. Quite distracting. But, sleep. Still, they seem happy enough. I don't know. But gull cries always seem a bit hysterical to me. It's getting panic, Yeah, I sit and have a drink here, I think. They're far enough away not to snatch it from my hand. A good trudge there. Nuclear power station in the background still. It's going to be there a while, I think. No, huge bit of shingled across, but I think that hill with the white building on is like a car park or something. There's a lot of people on the beach down there, so I call it a beach. It's all pebbly. No good here. So I guess I go up there and onwards. I guess if there's that many people on the beach over there, there's probably a hotel or bar or an ice cream van somewhere nearby. So that's all good. Going to see what opportunity awaits. I'm not going to record this next bit because it's very loud. Was not expecting that. There's a proper path. He goes to a car park. There's something on the top of the hill there. Looks like a plaque and a bench and something. Yeah, let's go see. Just when I was starting to get cantankerous about the gravel. Here is a path. Don't mind the occasional bit of gravel, just remind myself what the coast is like, but prefer this. Not quite sure where I am at then. A National Trust though, which means a tea room. Which I'll definitely pop into because I'm fighting the heat a bit today. Sun's not directly hitting me a lot, but that's no excuse. Then afterwards, around there and on to Dunwich, I guess. Dunwich Heath, I suppose. Seeing signs. Ah, yes, that's all Dunwich Heath over there. Okay, well, cold drink before pressing on. I always use someone else's water, not your own. If you can. I've been using some of my own as I've been going. Don't worry about dehydration. It's straight. So I need to just play it safe and carefully. Which means using every tea shop you see. Speak again soon. Yeah, I reckon 2/3 of the way through today to Dunwich, and then it's on to Walberswick and then Southwold, which is the headland there, I think, looking at the map. £3.40. Oh, I don't care. I'm a regular enjoyer of the National Trust's work, so I think that's probably fine. It's probably join or something at some point. I'm getting to that age, so might not be a bad value for money proposition. Dunwich. Yeah, there we go. Just at the bottom. Just cut straight across and up, really. Well, there's excellent signage as ever. So I'll just follow the signs. There's one. Lovely sea. The beautiful purple heather all over it, particularly the other side of that road there. Magnificent. Don't get this halfway up a blinking tributary in Essex. Wartime trail too. Oh dear. I didn't sign up. Stealth conscription via National Trust. So this goes up and down and over and along a bit, and we end up in Dunwich. And there's probably another 4 miles or so beyond that to Wabber Jack or whatever it's called, and then Southwold. We should be done for the day. It's 3 o'clock now, just about. So I reckon probably a 5 to 6 finish. Near a 5, I'd imagine. And then I have to go and get the bike again. Obviously, jump in the car, drive back to Aldeburgh, collect Theseus, assuming he's still there. And then I'm kind of at a bit of a loose end, really. I can do what I like because there's no evening meal scheduled. I'm not at a hotel that does evening meals, so I can just do what I like. Probably head back to Great Yarmouth where the digs are, B&B. And see about getting some food on the way, probably. And then probably an early night. I mean, it's all very well being on a seafront town when you're doing the hiking week like this and doing a hotel or whatever. But by the time I get back to the place, I'm just so knackered. I don't really want to go wandering around the seafront all evening, all week. So I saw it a bit last night. It's okay. And you'll see it properly when we go through there. Probably, imagine that'll be Tuesday of this week. Finish up there, but although the staging means I want to push beyond Great Yarmouth, even though that's where I'm staying, so I'll do a few more miles beyond it before I finish that day. Yes, see it all in its majestic glory, probably Tuesday afternoon. Meantime, enjoy this heather. Magnificent. Almost reminds me of Cornwall and Devon. Still a bit of that here. Yeah, nice bit of forest here. Some sort of pines, the fir. I'm not very good at identifying trees. I don't know if we're still in the National Trust bit or whether we're coming out onto Dunwich Village properly. Can't be far away now. Good. Yeah. Right. So I'm moving to that afternoon session. Mind you, this time of year it's still very high sun. So much later before we get the golden light and the evening hiking. Yeah, nice. No idea where I am now. It's starting to feel like an inland detour to me. Yeah, a lot of private estates there and the cliffside bits collapsed. Big posh houses. Still on the trail. Can't argue with that. Guess we'll get to Dunwich soon. Feels like it ought to be soon. I lost track of time, really. It happens on the trail. Straight on from here. The Suffolk Coast Path disagrees. Interesting. Well, I suppose you've got to show a bit of originality. Yeah, Sandling's Walk. See that a lot. All in the same as the Southwold back, eh? Some sort of archway. God, not another magical woodland realm. This is someone's old estate. Now publicly available. I mean, that's obviously private over there. Who knows? Oh, it's a sort of roadway ramp sort of thing, right? From where to where? Military? Or railway? Maybe it's just a folly. Completely choked up on that slide on the top. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I see. Sudden right hand turn on the apparent cliff edge. Guess we've probably lost a big chunk of the coast path through there. Probably while we're off on the hinterlands on the estates there. It's fine. Stuff happens. Particularly to the east coast. A bit of altitude here. It's a bit crumbly, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Anyway, back on the coast, back on track. It's good. Wow, look at this. Look at that wood, suddenly we're in a ruined keep. Or an abbey or some such. Well, the walls have had some rebuilding done. Not sure where we are. Probably, maybe there'll be a sign. It's an abbey, maybe? Yeah. Lots to see. This is only day one. I've got hundreds of days of this to do before I get back to Minehead. This is brilliant. Well, there we go. Oh, a QR code and everything. Greyfriars. Dunwich. Oh, lots of information here. Priory ruins. There we go. So that's on the outskirts of Dunwich itself then at this point. Scheduled ancient monument. One of the most important in Suffolk. For some more information, or other Wikipedias are available. Just stones in a field now. See, just lending credence to the old adage that if you want to know more, just wait longer. Just keep walking. 100 places. Nominated by the public, selected one of the top 10 places in the loss and destruction category by Judge Mary Beard. Famous ruin. Alas, no time to poke about any further. It doesn't have a lot to actually poke about in. It is what you see, I think. Time to go. Onward. Right, a little bit more. Last grave. Draw your attention to the phrase, bones still occasionally weather out of the cliff face. Don't know what it does say on there, yes. In memory of Jacob Forster. 1796, age 38. Right, now I really must get on. Yeah, go down off the cliff. And along Dunwich High Street. Whatever it is. Let's go. Quick's way. Volunteer at Dunwich Museum. Looks like I can spare half an hour at that. A pub. I don't know, I've had a drink not so long ago. I'm probably okay. But then when's the next one? Yeah. No, I've got water. It's fine. Let's keep going. Yeah. Just past the Dunwich Museum. The little green things there. I'd love to stop and have a good old look, as they tell the story of the lost city. Like half of the village being consumed by the sea over the years. Fortunately, I don't really have time to stop and never propaganda, so I'm keeping on. But this looks so much like the wrong way. I had to double check, but it is the right way. We go inland a bit to detour around a big old bit of fens that seemingly has no path or no access to the far end. So anyway, that was Dunwich. Guess we don't get to see half submerged buildings and the tolling of church bells under the waves after all. There may still be some of that some bit further along. It's a bit of road trudging then. Still good for distance. Getting bored over there. But no, apparently can't stay on it. Specifically excluded from going out onto here. It's all like marsh and dunes, I suppose. Right, well, carry on along this gravelly road. A bit boring, to be honest. Still, should rejoin with the beach at the end. That'd be something to look forward to. Good. I might have a sit and have some water anyway. Maybe I should have stopped at that pub. Off-grid living here. Sort of tree house type. Top floor bigger than the ground floor thing. Very swanky. I turn the corner and okay. So they must be getting the mileage done. We'll be on to the Wabblesham next. No time. Once we get to the end of this. I have to check the maps, work out how I'm doing. But yes, more trudging. Must be angling back towards the sea now, I suppose, after having gone around that big fen over fields and stuff. It'd be nice to be back on the coast. Me gushing about how well I was on the coast all day today. It's up here. Yeah, I can see the problem. Marshes and fens and things. Probably drains to the left to a river channel which breaks through the dune out into the sea and then leaves no way actually across. So that's probably why we're on here. This is the only actual land route. I fancy wading today. Right, let's carry on. Trouble is this rather sheltered thoroughfare is keeping the wind off me, which means I'm not cooling as much as I should be. So yes, just keep an eye on that. Symptoms of heat, whatever. Let's get to the end of here and see what's next. Looks promising. Basically back on the foreshores, a bit of bog in between, I think. Maybe whatever. Might just be grass. Anyway, zigzag along here a little bit and we end up at a place called Walderswick, where there is a significant inland river, but there's only like 10 minutes upriver to the bridge and 10 minutes back down again, so that's okay. So if that marks the start of the Norfolk Broads or whether that's up at Lowestoft. That kind of country. So yeah, just head down, trudge on really. It's that point of the day. It becomes about endurance. Definitely stopping at the next pub though. Have a lemonade. Keep on top of the hydration. Yep. See, that's me even watching my feet. Stumbling a bit. So I'm sure I'm fine. Keep at it. Because even if I wasn't fine, keeping at it would be the right thing to do. Get to a pub. Get some lemonade down. Yeah, something about Dunwich, but I guess there wouldn't really be much to see. It's like, there's a half-sunken town poking out of the waves or anything. It's all long gone. Even underwater, probably buried under a lot of sand, so not like scuba down and start walking along old streets and stuff. It's happened a long time ago. Probably not much to see. Oh, we can still see the nuclear power station. Once we get round Southwold, we probably won't see it anymore, not because we're far away enough, it's just because there's a bend in the coast. So that'll be that. Right, onward. It's for a slow pan. Familiar kind of territory, but not one I've seen in a while. Reminds me of some of the Essex stuff. Nice though. I'm a little tired to be able to appreciate it fully, but I still do appreciate it. Head down trudging, getting the distance in. We've done much over there. A way away now, a couple of miles, hopefully. That doesn't go anywhere, I think. Onto the beach. And this is where we're going next. Old windmill base there. I haven't seen a Martello Tower in a while. I wonder if we're done with those now. I wonder if we've seen the last. And the hiss of the wind through the reeds. Nice. Oh, we're camping. I'd be looking for somewhere to drop the tent here, to be honest. Although I would be worrying about flooding. Yeah. A lot of this is unused for a reason. Somewhere along here, I suppose. Major paths don't go down there. Presumably there's no other exit that hasn't done that in. Might be a flat bit you could put a tent on somewhere along there. Still, I don't have to worry about that kind of thing now. So. Keep pressing on. That'd be Walber's Wick, I think. And then the other side of the river, on the other side of that hill, is a short little hop about a mile, and then Southwold, the end of today. Although I've got to go through the whole town because I parked on the north side, so I don't know how much more that'll add, but that's all good. It's only a small place. Right, let's keep moving. Can't make mind up about the sky. I mean, I think it's completely overcast with lots of lower clouds, but the haze sort of breaks up a bit as it goes. It'll be grey, but yeah, unusual sky. So the rest of the country's dealing with tropical thunderstorms and the heat wave still carrying on, I expect. I mean, I doubt it'll drop below 20 before I go home, even here, and it's hotter inland, much hotter. That's what I'll be hearing about it on the news, how many people have died and so on. I think that's generally people who are quite poorly anyway, and the extra heat just adds the pressure. I think anyone with a bit of common sense is capable of surviving this. Got to keep drinking, stay out of the direct sun if you can, wear a hat. Try not to do any exuberant physical activity. I'm alright, I'm feeling okay. A bit tired, but no more so than at this sort of time on a normal hiking day. So, yeah, I won't deny the heat's has added some pressure, but I think I'm alright, I think I'm coping. This is exactly around this river and then up to the shore again and then on to the end. Let's follow it and find out. I just keep walking, I'll find out. New bit here. Precision fitted. I'm extremely grateful for this sort of terrain without paths. It's a bit of a nightmare staggering on the tops of these. Done my fair share. Yeah, I'll take the wooden highway every time. I hypnotic. Choo choo. Yeah, at 5 o'clock and we're back on the beach. There's the nuclear power station. Been there, done that. It's not bad actually. We're past that, that's about 1 o'clock. Yeah. No way. Tide's in. Not much of a beach to speak of here anyway, it's all very pebbly. And I understand what that white spike is now. It's the Southwold Lighthouse, look. Which is interestingly in the centre of town. You go, see it clean? Oh, we're definitely getting nearer. it's nice to see one. It seems to me, I mean, yeah, okay, I'm sure I've ranted extensively about the obsolescence of the once coveted role of lighthouse keeper that I always had in mind if nothing else worked out for me. Of course, it's all automated now, but now more increasingly we're seeing them where they just don't have a light at all. Just wondering if that's just such a prevalent usage and adoption of GPS satellite navigation that you don't even need lighthouses anymore. There's nobody out there not using a GPS. Fishermen, fishermen will have it, I'm sure. Even little day pleasure craft, little yachts and stuff, they've all got it. And the tech's not bulky or expensive anymore. You can get it as a keyring or a phone app or one of them little handheld Garmin things that do the job. There's no excuse to be out there without a satellite navigation system, I suppose. It's sort of like a Lilo. And it's nice to see it gleam, nice to see White Tower with a gleaming light at the top. It's not a very frequent gleam, but yeah, there it is. Anyway, we'll get closer, I'm sure. So yeah, you can see that long breakwater there. That marks either this side or the far side of the river. Blah 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 blah. I forgot to look up. I have real short-term memory problems these days. I don't know if that's a mental illness or an Alzheimer's or anything. I think I've always been like this. Always just been crap at remembering stuff. But yes, there's a big river, quite a wide one, that cuts out along that breakwater, along that jetty. These buildings on the far side lead up into Southwold, which you can see with all the buildings and the stonking great lighthouse. So yes, I will need to get to the end and cut left, probably about 10 minutes, 15 minutes upriver, find the bridge. I actually crossed that earlier this morning on the bicycle. So yeah, easy enough. It's a footbridge only though, which is interesting, which means getting here by car is actually quite an extensive inland detour. But then you're in a car, so it's probably no effort. That's fine, So yeah, then another 10 minutes back down this side and then straight up into Southwold. Piers on the other side, I think, and then hopefully my car. But I've decided I'm just going to have a lemonade if I see one in a pub in Walberwick, that's it. I'm just trying to remember the names of these places. Sort of likely pub. I thought, well, if it's open and I'm passing, I might have a lemonade anyway. Because I don't really have to be back in time for any kind of dinner tonight, so as long as I can find something open, 24-hour garage and a bag of sandwiches and stuff will do me probably. And I keep saying that I used to just sleep in hedges, but it's been a while since I've done that, so perhaps I ought to stop laying claim to that kind of rugged lifestyle. Anyway, that's the plan. I'm doing, pretty much 5 o'clock, so I expect by the time I get across the other side it'll be 5:30 to 6. And then just jet around, grab the car, go get the bike, and then, amuse myself until, well, to be honest, I'm, just quite keen on just getting back to the B&B room and chilling out, being done for the day. Yeah, Great Yarmouth is at my fingertips, as it were, at the doorstep, but there's so much seaside shorefront entertainment one can put up with in a week, and I've already been. We did that last night, so yeah, let's crack on. This is nice. I mean, despite the look of that sky, it's still about 22 degrees. Cooling down a bit though with a bit of wind later in the day. Nearly bearable. And that noise. Listen to that for hours. Need to get one of them relaxation tapes. Alright, let's get to the end and turn left, follow the river up, get the bridge. Hopefully via a pub. If I don't find one, then fine. Once I get the car, I can always go and find a 24-hour garage. Cold drinks ahoy. Alright, well, that's where I'm going next. I'm no longer there to follow the river, find the bridge. But there's a pub there, so let's see if it's open. My record in this regard has not been stellar. We'll see, they look like they're going in, or at least peering at it in perplexity. Ah, there's another pub over there. Oh, I see. That's probably the actual one. Okay, let's go. Okay, refreshed, ready to rock. Well, rock's probably a bit adventurous at this stage in the day. So it's 5:30 now. It's a bit later than I was hoping, but I mean, perhaps I staged today a bit longer than previous. That's okay. There's no particular deadline to hit, so I'll just keep going. But, okay, yeah, up on this seawall, follow it upstream to the footbridge. And then back down the other side and then off into town. Let's do it. Not guessing at finishing times at this point, might be an hour, like half an hour. Not terribly far once we get into Southwold. This river's thrown a little bit of a small spanner in the works. That's okay. I have private jetties along here, many of which are for sale. Jetties there, not the boats. Can you see that from here? I'll read it out. I'm in the wrong zoom mode and I can't roll the switch. So the lower symbol there at the bottom on the side on the right hand post is 2013 flood. And presumably the water level reached that point. One on the top is 1953 flood level on the top. And I reckon that pretty much clears the top of this. That would have all been completely inundated at first. So yeah, it does happen. So I need to be up there. You can just see the footbridge over there. Up there along that and then back down the other side. And then I don't know where. There'll be a signpost leading off into Southwold, I hope. So we'll see. This is the River Blythe. Clearly tidal. Very high tide. Came across here this morning on my way from car park to bike park. So yes, I'm broadly where I'm at now. Go down that side and then cut inland, I guess. Getting on there. 6:15. I don't know why I keep obsessing to go. Well, I want to get it all sorted out before it's too late to have a noisy shower in my B&B room with thin walls. So yes. Oh. ECP wants me to go right to the end, onto the shore. So that's the river done anyway. So the other side is actually the Corey Museum. Strange. Look for a sign. There we go, yellow on the post. I have to say today, I've been 100% spot on with the signage. I've not been lost once. There's always been a thing on a post. Perfect. Right, let's go that way. Final straight along Southwold seafront then, I guess, or whatever that amounts to. Excellent. Heading north again. River done. Much sandier this side. Yeah. Not quite sure if I'm meant to be on top of the dunes on the grass down there or on the beach itself. Having just gushed about how well the signage was. I might have missed one, it's fine. Anyway, there's the pier. My car's just this side of it, I think. It should be. So actually, it doesn't look like Southwold itself is quite long. Okay, well, however I get there, I need to get to the seafront down there. I'm going to go down on the beach, I think. Why not? Make life hard for myself. Because being on the coast is what it's all about. Hope the pier's open. I mean, it's getting on to it's just gone 6 on a Sunday. I mean, depends if it's one of these closable, gatey ones or not. I'd like to finish on the end of the pier, as is tradition. We'll see. Anyway, get any closer gabbing away up here. It's good to hear it. Just taking in the colourful beach hut. Very British. I've seen any of these since Don't know. Mersey Island, maybe? There's a load there. There's rivers and things. They lent themselves to a proper seaside, seafront destination. Southwold's just the first of several of those that we'll be seeing this week. Yeah, good. Good nearer to up here. There's the lighthouse. Odd to see one in the middle of a town. Usually on like rocky island, promontories and stuff. Gold flash. You know what I'm looking at? LEDs? There's pulsing. I don't think anything spins in there anymore. It's just a bank of LEDs pointing in different directions, but powerful ones. Xenon headlights, maybe? I don't know. I have no idea what lighthouses are anymore. Right, so there's the pier. I can see people on the end, so that's promising. Let's go see if my car's okay. It should be up on the greenery to the left. Now, let's have a look then. Time for another episode of what I'm now calling peer review. Yes. Functional, understated, goes quite far out into the sea, that's important. I saw a couple in Yarmouth, well I won't spoil it for now, but they didn't even reach the water at high tide. Let's see, we've got a big Art Deco building on the front there, yeah, like it. A couple of sub-buildings, amusements, etc. Obligatory fish and chip restaurant on the end. It's ticking all my boxes. Does look like it's seen better days, probably could have more lighting on it, I think. I think that's a solid 8. My seal of approval. I may have to. I can submit revised weightings up and down after I've been on it. Obviously, seeing the quality of the end of pier cavalry acts and so on. Yeah, smart. Well, that's a relief. Another day, another not stolen or on fire car. And I look at them now. You know, I put £6 in the parking machine in a long stay down there, and it gave nothing. No ticket, no refund, nothing. So in the end, I drove out here and parked on the side of this street, and the sign up there just says parking. No hours, no come back in 3 hours, stay for 3, go away after 3. It's just free parking along this, as long as you can get a space, and it was quite early, so I should do that in future. Save myself some money. Right then, let's get on the pier. Blimey. Keep it light. Local hero. Spent time in Southwold as a teenager. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I can't hold this up all the way up here, but little restaurants. I mean, these things are all open and in good repair. I mean, some of them are closed because it's Sunday evening, but they've not been abandoned. It's good. Like it. Some central seating bit there. What's this? Clock tower. Not actually 9 o'clock, it's 6:30, but you know, I guess it's probably quite cool when it's running. And then look, the end of the pier doesn't have a absolute hod load of tatty, tiny kids funfair rides on it. It often drives me into a rage. You may have just heard. The end of the pier is an end of a pier. For people who like the end of a pier. Brilliant. Super windy here, but I don't care. Got a fluffy cover on my mic. There we go, it's 6:30. Oh look, Dutch noticed. These would have been plaques on the actual decking. Obviously they replaced the decking, but they kept the plaques, which is nice. There you go, railing of the dead. Yeah. I think this railing carries more psychic weight than any bench I've seen today. So there we are, Southwold. Yeah, about 6:30. Set off about 11, so yeah, 7.5 hours. That's, I don't know, it's felt slow. But then, you know, it was 28 degrees for much of today, so perhaps that had a bearing. There's as well in the distance. And there's a quite close headland over there, so I don't really know what's that way. Let's go and have a look and wander. Big old military thing out there. Looks like some sort of patrol boat or destroyer, maybe. I checked marinetraffic.com and it doesn't appear. I guess the I guess the Navy aren't in the habit of advertising where they are and where they're going. I quickly jog out of the way of somebody using one of those paper coin operated telescopes. Now, they were in for a surprise. They got a right good look down my ear. Oh, yeah, I don't know what that is. So yeah, that's tomorrow. But I should be cycling back here from Lowestoft. In fact, a point somewhat to the north of Lowestoft, I think. Certainly the northern edge of Lowestoft. I've been trying to shuffle it all so that everything's a bit further away so I didn't have to do a 19-mile last day and then drive home, you know. So yeah, so anyway, the sun's come out. Lovely. So on reflection, I maintain my solid 8 for this pair. Could do a spruce paint and something, but and it's not its fault I've turned up on a Sunday evening when most of the little thingies are closed, but they're all not abandoned as far as I can tell. Yeah. Oh, right. I'm going to go and try and find my bicycle, and then raid a 24-hour garage on the way back to Great Yarmouth for a bag of snacks for my B&B room. Nothing fancy tonight, I don't think. I'm going to hit the town. Did that a bit last night, to be honest. I've certainly walked so far to yesterday evening that it felt like a whole another half day, so perhaps that was a bad idea. Anyway, thanks for watching and everything, and see you soon.